Kia scouting report.
Well, we know what Cal's capable of doing. He really had his last outing. He really had a tough time getting through the first couple of innings, but he bowed his neck and got deep in the game and gave the Royals an opportunity to win the game. So I think that game, Ryan, he really grew a lot because he went through that adversity early, settled down, and kept the game where it was.
Curtis Granderson 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts last night. It's got to be big for a player, too. You talk about a guy growing, but now he knows that if he gets in trouble in the first inning, he can just always refer back to that start in Texas and how he turned it around.
Well, he had to go back to getting that first pitch fastball over and making his other pitches good, and that's going to be the key to him tonight. If he gets his fastball over, spots it both sides of the plate, and makes his changeup and curveball that much better to the hitters.
2-1 to Granderson. There's the good changeup from Davies. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Granderson among the league leaders in strikeouts. He's fanned 13 times this year. And the count is full. Talked about it last night. That's the one statistic the Tigers would really like to see him improve.
Well, he's a free swinging leadoff guy, and right now the count is 3-2, and his changeup's working pretty good. He might want to go back with that.
That's out of play off to the third base side. In that first inning on Sunday, Kyle walked 4. He threw 37 pitches. But able to grind himself out of that first inning, gave up a solo home run in the second, and then finished by retiring 16 of 19 and left the game with the lead. Now battling Granderson to begin the game tonight. We told you at the top of the broadcast that Zach Minor has had success against the Royals. 3-1 last year. Kyle was 0-3 against the Tigers and just 1-4 in his career. Granderson reaching at a changeup down and away, and Coco runs it down 1 away. A good pitch on 3-2. Another warm night, a lot of wind. A little cooler than last night's game. 75 degrees at first pitch, which was on time at 6:10. Official time and temp presented by the Parking Spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The Parking Spot at KCI. A steady wind at 12 miles per hour with gusts up to 32 miles per hour, which should help any ball hit in the air to left field and left center. Now Polanco reaching at an off-speed pitch. And again, it's Coco Crisp. 2 down in the first inning. And the Royals defensively, De Jesus Crisp with Jose Guillen returning to the starting lineup. Mark Teahan, Tony Pena Jr. at shortstop tonight. Alberto Callaspo and Billy Butler, and John Buck back of the plate for Kyle Davies. So 2 up, 2 down to Maglio Ordonez, who was 0 for 4. Making Ordonez 4 out of 31 in his career against Zach Greinke.
You know, last night, Ryan, I don't think anybody wanted to face Zach Greinke. I mean, he got a guy that's getting 4 pitches over. You can't center on one pitch. You're always in that zone. We push in that zone where you're too slow for the fastball and too quick for the breaking ball.
Sure-handed Billy Butler handles the hot shot, and Kyle Davies has a much different first inning tonight. Kyle Davies with a 1-2-3 top of the first, and now Trey Hillman able to pencil in Jose Guillen for the first time in 2 weeks. Here's the Royals lineup presented by M&I Bank. So Guillen, who began the season as the number 4 hitter, breaking up Tien and Jacobs. Tonight, he'll bat 5th. Alberto Callaspo with his first major league home run last night. And a different 8 and 9 hitter with John Buck catching and Tony Pena Jr. at shortstop. Going up against 27-year-old right-hander Zach Miner.
Well, Ryan, Zach Miner is a single baller. He can get up to 93, but that might not be a good working range for him because he wants to be able to have balls sink, and he also mixes in a slider change and a curveball.
So that's the Kia scouting report on Zach Miner. Strike 1 on Coco Crisp. 2 hits, a run scored, 2 RBIs last night. One and one. Coco has hit in 4 straight games. Just a tick under 260 for the year. In the air to right field. Ordonez shallow. All the way back. Ordonez and makes the play. And the wind didn't help him out at all.
Ordonez goes back. You know, that wind's really playing with the ball. With a little snow cone there at the end. He had to reach back over his shoulder. I think he thought he was closer to the wall than it really was. That's why you always instruct your outfielders to go back and feel for where that wall is so they'll know exactly where they are.
Oh, and 1 on David DeJesus. Hitless last night in 4 trips and now trying to snap an 0 for his last 9, but excellent numbers in his career against Zach Miner. 3 of the 8 hits have been triples.
Going back to that ball that Coco just hit, I agree he hit that ball very well. And I think based on the new construction, I'm thinking anything below that on a line, the ball will go. But you get it up high like that, and that ball definitely was affected by the wind.
Well, if you were to judge how the ball is going to travel tonight based on the flags, you would think everything towards right field is going to go into a crosswind. But as you know better than anyone, sometimes when the wind gets in the ballpark, it can have a swirling effect.
It can definitely have it. During batting practice, I was down there and the flag was blowing like they were, and there was no wind blowing at all on the field itself. So that tells me that the ball's got to get up higher than the structure for the wind to affect it.
So DeJesus ahead in the count, 3-1. Full count. Fastball riding away. After falling behind 3-1, the same pitch, a tailing fastball away, strikes out DeJesus, and 2 down in the first inning. Now, with a right-hander on the mound, you would think just load the lineup with lefties, but Zach Miner kind of goes against that rule. He's given the lefties a bad time, and look what the righties are hitting against him this year.
I think the one thing about him is his fastball that runs is coming into a right-handed hitter, and if he doesn't get it down, then that pitch gets hit. You saw there against David, the fastball really runs off the plate, and the left-handers got to stay with him and try to go the other way. If they try to pull him, then they're either going to foul it off or miss the ball completely.
Martin about 150 points better against the right-handers this year. Homered against right-hander Rick Porcello last night, his second of the season. So we'll see how that plays out tonight, the righty-lefty matchups, as the Royals open the batting order with 4 consecutive lefties. 2-1. Zach Miner is originally from the Braves organization, so Dayton Moore is very familiar with him. Rene Francisco, who was with the Braves and now at the Royals, was the scout that signed Zach Miner back in 2000 as Tian ropes it into center field for a 2-out hit. Always thinking about 2, and Tian is going to be out by a mile. So Tian gets a 2-out single and then thrown out 8-6, and the Royals send 3 to the plate in the first inning. The Royals' first hit with 2 outs in the bottom of the first, but cut down trying to stretch a single into a double. Kyle Davies back to work. Here's the Roadrunner turbo speed pitch from the first inning. Kyle at 90, Zach Miner at 91. Both normally pitch in the low 90s. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner turbo from Time Warner Cable. 1-0 to Miguel Cabrera. Came into the game last night leading the league in hitting at .431, but was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts against Zach Greinke. And again, the top 5 hitters in the batting order, and it's a strong top 5. Granderson, Polanco, Ordonez, Cabrera, and Guillen were 1 for 18. Under the chin, 2-1.
By the way,
enormous numbers for Cabrera, mostly in the National League, although last year 37 home runs, leading the league. Not bad when you're moving to a new league. 3 balls, 1 strike. Cabrera, the 3rd fastest to 500 RBIs in Major League history. And Kyle got him to chase ball 4. It's a full count. Kyle getting 2 fly balls to center field and a ground ball to first in the first inning. On the ground, deep short, Tony Pena Jr. Plenty of time to get Cabrera. So Davies comes back from 3-1 to get a ground ball. And up comes Carlos Guillen. And let's check in for the first time tonight with Joel Goldberg.
Well, a big wave out to you guys behind home plate. We're out in left center field. Our first time at the Fountain Bar. And again, as I keep saying throughout the different homestands, that every place you go, there's a different vantage point. And right here, you got a nice view of the field hovering over left, and the fountains are right below us. And these folks they've found a good spot to camp out at, and I'm not sure they're going to give it away anytime or give it up anytime soon. I know this family right here, they came about 1:30 to get their jerseys. These guys came at 2:30, and what better, get your jersey, come plop down right here. And there's a little bit of an overhang, too. That might come into play a little later as well. Guys, back up to you.
Joel, sounds like a much tamer crowd in the Fountain Bar than in Rival Sports Bar.
That is a great point. You know, our pregame shows are usually what Jamie and I call the calm, kind of observant crowd. But I think the fact that everybody got here at 1:30, some folks said as early as 11:30, it felt more like a postgame show crowd tonight. Just my observations. But yes, this is a very well-behaved group out here. I'm very impressed. Gentlemen just said right now. Give him some time. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Joel. 4-pitch walk. Davies puts Guillen on with one away, bringing up Gerald Laird, and now Davies wants a new baseball. Coming up this week, NASCAR on Fox moves to Talladega Super Speedway, where Kyle Busch will try to defend his title against a full field of the world's best drivers. Coverage of the Sprint Cup Series racing from Talladega begins Sunday at 12 p.m. in high definition on Fox. Here's a strike to Gerald Laird, the only Tiger in the lineup last night who had more than one base hit against Zach Greinke. Single, a double, and then scored that unearned run in the 5th inning to snap Zach's scoreless inning streak at 38. And that's belted into deep left center field. DeJesus is back, and Gerald Laird has hit a 2-run home run. That's only the second home run that Kyle Davies has allowed this year in 20 innings.
Well, the one thing that Laird does at the plate, he doesn't try to do too much. Last night he went to right on a fastball against Greinke, then Greinke hung a curveball and he hit that. And here Kyle gets a changeup that really goes right into his swing, and then he didn't miss it. I think it's a little bit harder than what Kyle wanted at 83 miles an hour on a changeup, but the thing usually goes down, but this one ran into the bat.
One strike now on Brandon Inge. Get a good look at that, Joel?
Yeah, it was right below us, and I've got to tell you that the fans up here, now they're starting it up again, the throw it back chant. There they go. So much for being calm. DeJesus was looking at them all just wondering, are you going to do it or not do it? But, yeah, we had a pretty good vantage point.
You got to stay alive if you're David DeJesus. Davies comes back to get Brandon Inge. 2 down in the 2nd inning.
We were saying on the road trip, Ryan, that all those people who get those home run balls and they throw them back on the field, probably 10 years from now, they get a grandkids and they say, boy, I could have kept this ball for my grandkid. Or how many of us grew up as kids wanting to get a ball in the stands, a home run ball, and they just throw them back on the field like it's nothing.
Nothing says cool dude like throwing a home run ball back on the field. Tony Pena Jr. retires Josh Anderson. Tigers get 2 on the home run from Laird. Stadium tonight, or you can turn yourself into a jersey. Go Royals. Apparently they were not part of the first 20,000 fans to get one like the guy standing behind them. But a great crowd tonight. Second night in a row that the Royals have given away a jersey. (2-0) on Mike Jacobs. 0 for 4 last night. Facing Zach Miner for the first time. And going for it all. 2 balls, 1 strike. That brings us to tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. Your favorite giveaways at Kauffman Stadium. 40th anniversary jersey. We'll also include the Billy Butler jersey from last night. Bobblehead nights, firework Fridays, or T-shirt Tuesdays. Diving play, Everett behind the bag and throws out Jacobs. That's the second time in the last 2 nights the Tigers have had Jacobs played perfectly up the middle.
Well, they're doing a good job in their scouting report. Everybody knows that Mike Jacobs wants to pull the ball, so that's going to draw the shortstop more up the middle. But this ball went right across the bag, and Everett, when they signed him, this is what they were looking for, to be able to cut down some of the run production from the opposition. The greatest thing there, he got up so fast, Ryan, and really had the ball off to first base. He just took very little time right there. So it's a great play on Everett's part.
And now Jose Guillen is back. Injured his right hip flexor running out a ball late in the 3rd game of the season at Chicago on April the 9th on a very cold day. Went on the disabled list. He did not want to go on the disabled list, but the Royals wanted to make sure that that injury healed and didn't linger the rest of the year.
Well, that's true, and when you've been out that long, you don't know what the timing is going to be like, so anything slow would probably be better than anything hard today.
3-0 on Guillen. Text your answer 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, followed by a space and then A, B, C, or D. Guillen returns to the lineup and takes a 4-pitch walk from Zach Miner. Now the Royals just trying to follow the Tigers in the top half of the inning. Ground ball to short, walk, 2-run home run. And now the Royals have the ground ball to short and the walk, bringing up Billy Butler, who is yet to homer this year.
Zach Miner's fastball is really running right now. They try to run it up and in on the hands of Jose Guillen, and I really like to see it. I think they're going to pitch Billy the same way. They're going to try to get the fastball to run right in on his hands and try to get him to roll over on the ground ball to shortstop.
And that pitch missed inside. Don't expect Jose Guillen to be running here, but of the 5 stolen bases the Royals have this season, Guillen has one of them. And a slider in for a strike, 1-1.
Well, you can see they wanted the ball away on that pitch, and Miner left the ball out over the plate, so that's a good way to get hit hard when you miss your spots by that much.
One and two.
That's that sinker that he runs down underneath his swing, and if Billy, with his swing, he swings over the top of that pitch, and that's when he wanted to roll that ball over to third or the shortstop.
And the goal of the pitcher is to make it look at the beginning like it's right down the middle.
And then at the last minute, he's got the late movement. The later he moves, the better, because the hitter won't recognize he's already committed to his swing at that point.
Blocked by Laird. 2-2 on Butler with Guillen down at first base. Billy's batting average at .220, but he is getting on base quite a bit. He has 8 walks in his last 8 games. He had another walk last night. So seeing more pitches, working himself into better counts. And eventually that's going to pay off in hits. Still 2-2.
The one thing you saw right there, Ryan, the pitches before Minor was working in the 90-91 range, had a lot of sink to his fastball. There he amped it up to 93, and the ball was straight. So that's where he doesn't want to be. He wants to make sure he's not too strong and make sure he keeps the sink on his fastball.
And again, pounding him inside. Billy works a full count. Billy had 3 walks of that stretch I was just talking about in the Cleveland series, and all 3 he was either down in the count 0-2 and 1-2. So there's a young hitter who doesn't panic when he has 2 strikes on him.
Well, he normally has a good eye, and he really has proven that to this point.
Into left field, and it's going to stay up for Anderson. 2 down, Guillen back to first base. Kevin Seitzer told me in spring training he's trying to pick the mind of the new hitting coach and some of the things that he feels are important, and Billy Butler just did something in that at bat. Well, first of all, he fell behind, worked a full count, but Kevin giving Billy a pat on the shoulder. Seitz said anytime a hitter, especially early in the game, sees 8 pitches or more, he considers that a good at-bat, whether you get a hit or not.
Well, it will be, because if more hitters in the lineup see that many pitches, what his angle is increase the pitch count of the starting pitcher and try to get him out of the game as early as you can and get into the bullpen.
0-1 on Callaspo, hit his first major league home run last night.
Well, last night he got him a fastball up out over the plate. And I tell you, couldn't have put a prettier swing on it. And he got it up in the second tier of the new construction out there. That was an outstanding home run to have. That's one that he will remember, because I don't think he's ever hit a ball that far before.
2 balls, 1 strike. 442nd at bat of his career before he gets his first home run. Frank, speaking of long stretches without a home run, there's a coach in the ballpark tonight who has one of the longest in Major League history, one of the best fielders of his time, Rafael Belliard. He once went 10 years in between home runs.
Well, Ralph, he was more of a right field hitter. When he played down in Atlanta, they used him a lot for hit and runs, and he bunted a lot. So a very solid player, though.
Now, of course, that didn't really matter, because you said that wasn't his game, and an outstanding defensive player, but 10 years between home runs.
Yeah, he was down there with Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz. He said, my job was to play defense and set runners up for the big guys.
Guillen running, and Callaspo fouls it away. Well, if you go 10 years without a home run, you're obviously excellent doing something else, because that's a long time in the big leagues.
Well, he was a defensive specialist, and he could do the little things with the bat, and that's what they liked about him down there, and he played there a long time. I talked to him a little bit before the game, and he was excited to be working with Santiago. He really likes him as an infielder.
Up the middle into center field. Guillen with an early break will go first to third, and the Royals putting a rally together with 2 outs.
Well, if you're wondering how good Jose feels with his legs, here he goes first to third, so it looks like everything's going to be okay. Makes a good turn at second base, but you don't know quite if he's really, really right where he wants to be, because, normally when you don't play in the game, you run a lot differently than when you're running in sprints in the outfield and things like that. So when you get on the actual bases, get a little adrenaline going, then you really find out where you really are.
First and third, 2 down. And John Buck, who is due against Zach Miner. Got him to chase a slider down and away.
A lot of times you get a pitcher like Zach Miner who has that good running fastball back into right-handers, knowing John Buck is primarily a pull guy. He might want to come up with pitches that he's going to stay away, like the first pitch slider, and he may go up to the 93 fastball, maybe straight to the outside part of the plate.
Shatters the bat, and coming in from third is Inge. Throws off the bag, but Cabrera bails him out. Royals strand 2 in the second inning. Two to nothing Tigers as we go to the third, and sitting in the Buck O'Neill legacy seat at tonight's game is Kent Bender, a meat supervisor at a local Hy-Vee, who goes above and beyond when it comes to helping out a local community. Working with the Hope Network Food Pantry, Ken evaluates his inventory and special promotional offers to provide an excellent and large selection of meat that helps the pantry and feeding program secure up to 10 times more food than normal. So welcome and congratulations to Kent Bender. Number 9 hitter, shortstop Adam Everett. Not in the lineup last night. Ramon Santiago was at shortstop. And that's hit hard into left field. And Everett has a leadoff single. And now Curtis Granderson as we take a look at tonight's Toyota League leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. American League leaders, strikeouts per 9 innings. All 3 are in the ballpark tonight. Zach Greinke the best, followed by Justin Verlander. The Royals will not see him. And then Kyle Davies, who has struck out 21 in 20 innings.
This is the part of Jim Leland's lineup where he can really do some things. With Everett on first, he's got Granderson, Polanco coming up. This is where he can hit and run. He can do he's got a lot of options with these 3 guys back to back.
Okay, that makes sense, Frank, but as a manager, what are the different checklists in your mind before you put the hit and run sign on?
Well, I think you get the right count. You got to make sure that the pitcher is not a pitcher you can steal a base on first. If he's slow to the plate, you might want to opt to steal a base. If he's fast to the plate, then that's when you put the hit and run on.
Everett not running, and Granderson hits it to deep right field, and the Tigers have their second 2-run home run. So that's Granderson's version of hit and run. His 6th home run of the season.
Well, we know he's got the power, and if he gets the fastball up like he got there, he can do that. He's just that prototypical leadoff guy. We compared him to Grady Sizemore, guys that can lead off. They do strike out, but when they get their pitch, they don't miss.
Well, Kyle Davies, this is unlike him, giving up 2 home runs, as he had allowed only 1 in his first 3 starts. The Royals before tonight had given up the second fewest home runs in the American League, and it seems like the ones they did give up were not painful at all. A lot of solo home runs. And now Guillen's first chance, and retires Polanco. That's the first out of the 3rd inning.
When you look at the pitches that were hit, the changeup was up, moving into the right-handed hitter. There, Granderson got a fastball up. So you definitely got to pitch down in order to be successful.
Maglio Ordonez takes ball 1, lost a base hit on a nice snag at first by Billy Butler, who has been playing an excellent first base.
He really has. He's done a great job.
Talking to Dave Owen, who is the Royals' third base coach and infield coach. And Dave and Trey Hillman arriving at the same time in Kansas City and taking a look at Billy Butler. And right away, they knew he had the hands to be a first baseman. And Dave Owen saying that you no longer have to say, you know, that's a good play for Billy. Billy's making good plays now for any first baseman.
Every day he's coming up with 1 or 2 in the game. The one thing they did with him in spring training, they gave him a really small glove. And they, if you take a look at, this is the first inning right here, and what you go by right there, Ryan, is not so much he caught the ball, but how relaxed he was when he caught the ball. And he looked like he was in control of the whole play. But he works with a smaller glove in batting practice, and that makes his hands work a little bit better. Then when he gets his big first base mitt on, it just makes it easier for him to catch those ground balls.
Ordonez grounds out. He's 0 for 6 in the series. Now, you played with a very small glove, although some will say that you have big hands, so it made the glove look smaller than it actually was.
It was small. You want to see how big my hands are?
0-1 on Miguel Cabrera. You know, it's so easy to say about anyone when they're getting used to a new position. Well, he may not win a Gold Glove someday, but you know, there's 14 teams in the American League. Only 1 guy wins a Gold Glove. That means 13 other first basemen are not going to win a Gold Glove. So that's a statement that really doesn't make a lot of sense.
It really doesn't. And plus, they're voted on by the managers and coaches in the league. So those guys will be probably the best judge of who makes the most difficult plays on a more consistent basis.
I think the most important thing, though, about Billy Butler's glove at first base, and Dave Owen said that, but can we win games with Billy Butler at first base? Absolutely we can.
You can definitely win with him. Now, the one thing that any infielder has to be prepared for going into any ball game is you got to expect every ball to be hit to you first. And you got to be ready to make the moves on what type of balls that come. Where you get in trouble at is you get lazy over there and you don't anticipate the ball coming to you, and all of a sudden you're surprised by it, and that's when you get your poor play.
And another walk. So Kyle has walked 2. That's a statistic that really didn't get him into a whole lot of trouble, with the exception of that first inning on Sunday in Texas. And now Bob McClure is going to go out and talk to him. Let's take a look at You Call It, presented by Sprint, your favorite giveaway in 09. a 40th anniversary jersey, which they're giving away tonight. Bobbleheads, 35%. Fireworks Fridays. T-shirt Tuesdays, which is still somewhat of a new promotion. The fireworks last night, unfortunately, were postponed because of the strong winds. They could have shot off the fireworks, but the people here at Kauffman Stadium wouldn't have seen them. The people on the plaza would have enjoyed them.
I think if they do it tonight, it would be the same thing.
Yeah. And now Carlos Guillen. He walked and scored in front of Laird's home run last inning. And after the meeting with Bob McClure, one pitch and the inning is over. Brought to you tonight by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And by Colorado Tourism. Plan your summer vacation at colorado.com. Not as many traffic jams in the concourses now, with the equivalent of the double wide concourse. 2-0 on Tony Pena Jr. Zach Miner has given up a couple of singles and a walk. Also had a good defensive play behind him in the first 2 innings. And now it's 3-0 on TJ.
But Tony's shown a lot of patience this at bat so far. Swing can get a little bit long, and in the right situation, Miner might want to try to run the ball in on his hands and take advantage of that long swing.
4-pitch walk. Well, we saw it, I did at least, the very first game in spring training. A more patient Tony Pena Jr. Now, he's not going to lead the league in on-base percentage quite yet, but you could see the effort in trying to be more selective.
Well, when you haven't played in a while, it's better to go up and take a few pitches and try to get your bearings up there. You go up and hit the first pitch after not playing for a couple of weeks, and that's not a good thing either. But he showed a lot of patience right there, and he did make the effort in spring training. But sometimes he can get too aggressive and lose sight of what he's trying to do.
And now 1-0 on Coco. Just missed his 3rd home run of the year in the first inning, driving Maglio Ordonez to the right field wall.
With a Miner being a single ball pitcher, and this combination of Coco Chris and Tony Pena, ground ball pitcher, it might be a good opportunity for Trey at some point to put on a hit and run.
2 balls, no strikes. And now timeout is pitching coach Rick Knapp. Wants to go out and chat with Miner, who's missed with 6 in a row. You can still pick up a 9-game season ticket plan starting at just $99 and select your favorite dates, including premium games Or you can choose the new full season plan for just $5 a game. Whatever you select, season ticket plans are the most affordable way to experience the new Kauffman Stadium. Rick Knapp, the new pitching coach for the Tigers, is an easy guy to root for. Former draft pick of the Tigers. Spent 26 years in the minor leagues as a player and a coach before getting his first big league job this year. Now he's missed with 7 straight, 3-0 on crisp.
He just lost command of that running fastball. He started in the middle early and it ran to the corner. Now he's almost to the corner. It's running right off the plate.
3-1. There's Rick Knapp, who comes to the Tigers from the Minnesota Twins organization. He was their minor league pitching coordinator, so it should be no surprise that the Tigers have walked the fewest hitters in the American League. The Twins seem to do that year after year after year. With Minor having troubles here in the 3rd inning, he's given the Royals 2 base runners, and now David DeJesus coming up. And Rick Knapp on the phone in the 3rd inning.
Well, they got reason to be concerned because his fastball is missing by a lot. He's not able to get any of his pitches over. Normally, if you get one pitch over, the pitching coach is a little more patient. But once you're not getting anything over, then that's a big concern. This is an opportunity for the Royals to get back in the game. They could easily probably bunt here to try to get back on the board. It would be a great situation to add on a run here and get back in the ballgame.
David now 0 for his last 10. But this is a pitcher he's had a whole lot of success against. One ball, one strike. Four-pitch walk to Tony Pena Jr. And then a 5-pitch walk to Coco Crisp. The Tigers have hit a pair of 2-run home runs tonight. And DeJesus out in front. It's 1-2. Waiting for that sweet stroke to arrive at any time. David just doesn't quite look like himself yet.
Well, if we thought on the road trip he found it. What Minor's doing, he's throwing him the breaking ball, and David's kind of hitting around it and pulling it foul. But he just needs to get it back out over the plate just a little bit more for on the strike, and he usually does pretty good with that pitch.
Stayed back a little longer on that foul ball. Career season for David last year in almost every category, and that included missing quite a bit of time in April with a couple minor injuries. Batting average, home runs, RBIs, runs scored, stolen bases, you name it. Career year for David, and the count is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Zach Minor's last appearance was out of the bullpen on Tuesday against the Angels because of a rainout. He was skipped. Got the outside corner, and David caught looking.
This is a pitch that Minor came sort of a backdoor slider. David gave up on it. The ball came back and got the outside corner. So anything closer to 2 strikes, you got to try to put that ball in play.
The league hitting .372 against Zach Minor before tonight's game. So the Royals hoping to put a big inning together here with 2 on and 1 out, and their second time through the batting order. So 1 through 9 has a pretty good feel for what Minor has tonight.
Well, tee and swing is really geared toward Minor's sinking fastball because he's been going to left field and left center field real well, so he stays on the ball a little bit longer.
Broke his bat. 1 ball, 1 strike. singled first time up and then tried to stretch a single into a double. I would imagine, Frank, that the league is well aware of what a good base runner Tien is and how aggressive he is, and I'm sure the outfielders are well aware, hey, you got to keep an eye on this guy.
Yeah, a lot of times you got to make the outfielder rush. You know, you make the hard turns, but you got to make up your mind before you get to first base whether you're going to actually go for two or not. But you just want to create a sense of urgency in there in the outfielder, and hopefully get him to bobble a ball or something that will give you an edge to go into second base. But you got to be able to read the ball that you hit and know right away whether or not you had a legitimate chance to get to second base.
Of course, that aggressive base running last year led to 2 inside the park home runs. Two and two. Tien has done well against Zach Miner in 11 at-bats, 4 hits, including a home run. Zach Miner last year 3-1 against the Royals, 2.33 ERA. Full count.
Be an interesting situation here with 1 out. Zach Miner's 1-4-3, 1-5 to the plate. Be a good chance to start your runners and get back in the game right here. Depends on how aggressive Trey Hillman wants to be.
In the Royals' first 16 games, they have attempted 8 stolen bases, successful 5 times. Runners not going, and Tien stays alive. Now, every situation is different, but some managers have the reputation of they like to start the runners in certain counts. Trey doesn't appear to be one of those managers.
No, we had an opportunity to run 3-1 and on 3-1 counts, and we didn't do it. And here on 3-2, we didn't go on this pitch, on the latter pitch, but he could change.
Not running, and Tien again fouls it away.
Now, if this were Mike Scioscia and the California Angels, they run whenever the opportunity presents itself.
And there isn't a right way or wrong way to do it. It's just a manager's philosophy.
It's the philosophy. It's whether or not he thinks the base runner has a legitimate chance of stealing the base if the hit and run is botched by the hitter. Because the main thing about a hit and run is a lot of hitters put the weight on a lot of base runners put the weight on the hitter to hit the ball. And when he doesn't, then they're out by quite a bit.
To Polanco. Double play. The Royals get back-to-back walks to lead off the inning, but they're scoreless through 3. Well, the Tigers have made the most of a couple of opportunities against Kyle Davies, a couple of 2-run home runs. The Royals, unfortunately, couldn't take advantage of a couple of leadoff walks in the bottom of the third.
Well, definitely the Royals needed a big base hit right there. The double play took them out of the inning. That was a legitimate opportunity with first and second no outs. But, Kyle made a couple bad pitches, one with a changeup and left the fastball up that got hit out of the ballpark by Granderson. But the Royals just need to keep giving themselves an opportunity to score and find someone to give them that big hit.
Gerald Laird, who leads off, hit the other 2-run home run. That was with Guillen aboard back in the second inning. Under the glove of Billy Butler and into right field. So Laird has 4 hits in the series. And we check in again with Joe Goldberg.
Guys, you see the stands filled tonight, but the concourse, which of course we know is so much wider than the past, you can get a pretty good idea right now of how crowded it is. And as we walk through here, and of course we've got to deal with everybody excited of being on camera, we understand that. But look at the lines for food. I mean, this concourse is so much bigger than the past. But this will give you a pretty good idea of the amount of traffic going through this stadium all game long. Pretty exciting to see the new Kauffman Stadium packed the way it's been all weekend. Let's go back to you guys.
Okay, Joel. And it is a beautiful sight tonight, as it was last night. Back-to-back sellout crowds. Royals winning last night 6-1. They're going to have to come from behind tonight. Brandon Inge grounded out to third base in the second inning. Did not go around.
Well, Brandon is a strong middle-in hitter, and those hard breaking balls away, he's been really kind of fishing for him a little bit. Greinke last night had him chasing a couple of them. Those hard sliders, those check swing strikes, and that's been really the one pitch that they've had some success with him on.
And back-to-back hits for the Tigers to begin the fourth inning. And now the rookie Josh Anderson, who may be asked to bunt.
So you got a guy who's a strong middle-in hitter like Inge, and you throw that sinker that kind of comes back into his swing. It really does him a favor unless you can get it up a little higher and try to get on his hands.
Interesting watching his stance. You watch a guy for all of his career and you just notice little different things about him. But the way Inge had his wrists kind of cocked before the pitch came in, I mean, you really have to use your hands to get away with that.
You got to have some strong wrist also to be able to get the bat to the hitting zone.
Royals are ready for the bunt, and Anderson lays it down foul.
Well, that's almost as drastic as, say, Gary Sheffield, only you don't do a lot of the waving that he does. But in order to get that bat around into the hitting zone, you got to have some pretty strong wrist and hands to do that.
Remember, Julio Franco used to kind of bend the bat like that and point it towards the pitcher.
About as drastic as I've seen. Now, he actually had his hands above his head, and he was able to drive the ball to right center field and right field real well like that.
Back to the mound. Davies going to go to third, and the Royals get just one out. That's the second time in the last 3 games we've seen a potential double play not turn because the first throw goes to third base.
Ryan, I'm a little perplexed by that. I know that when the rule of thumb says anytime you've got an opportunity to get a double play with first and second, you go second to first. But anytime you go to third first, it makes a longer throw across to first. You almost always lose that runner going to first base.
And there is no room for error on that play because Josh Anderson is so fast. That brings up Adam Everett. Everett singled leading off the third inning and then scored on Granderson's 2-run home run.
That's really just a play you just don't see a lot. And in that situation, the Royals were in for the bunt, so Mark had to go back to the base. But you got to go to second to first and try to get that double play. And you may end up with a runner on third with 2 outs, but you'd rather have that than what you have right now.
Right center field. And Inge will tag as Coco makes the catch. First and third, 2 down. So Kyle Davies giving up back-to-back singles in this inning, but now a chance to get out of it with nobody home and 2 outs, but he has to get past Curtis Granderson, who hit a long home run to right field with a man on in the 3rd inning. Anderson takes off from first base, and that's ball 1.
That's the high fastball that Granderson hit his last at bat, and he didn't miss that high fastball.
Josh Anderson with his 5th stolen base of the year. So runners 2nd and 3rd, and ball 1 on Granderson. Tigers not only love the ball player Curtis Granderson, but love what he brings to the clubhouse. Very coachable player, and that began at the beginning of his major league career. Just kind of shows up, does his job every day, and the Tigers last year gave him a 5-year contract extension.
Well, that'll make you happy.
It'll make an already happy guy happier.
Well, what Kyle Davis is trying to do right now is stay away from Granderson, who is mainly a pull hitter. He's definitely sitting on the outside corner with a good running fastball. And when Josh Anderson stole second base, I was a little surprised he went that early in the count with that hole open at first base. I thought he might stay there for a couple pitches and give Granderson a chance to hit the ball through the hole.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Very thoughtful player, Curtis Granderson. Hard worker, comes from an education background. Both of his parents and his sister are teachers. At one point, he was dead even with Nook Logan. Called 3rd strike, and Kyle Davies gets out of the 4th inning and finishes off the Tigers with his first strikeout. Royals baseball brought to you tonight by Lumiere Place Casino and Hotel, presenting the Go Blue in St. Louis sweepstakes. One lucky winner will be at the Royals-Cardinals game on May the 23rd and enjoy beautiful accommodations at Lumiere Place Casino and Hotels. You can register now at goblueinstlouis.com. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach. 1 ball, 1 strike on Mike Jacobs. Grounded out to short in the second inning, and the Tigers have been guarding the middle with their shortstop the whole series against Jacobs, who's lost a couple of hits because of that shift. Last night it was a line drive up the middle, which I'm sure Jacobs is thinking, hey, good swing, base hit, but Ramon Santiago was standing right there.
That's no worse feeling to hit a line drive and see it going right to a defender. You've done everything you can do right to get to that line drive, and it's right at the defender, and that just really just deflates you for a minute.
And now Jacobs ahead, 3-1 with Jose Guillen next, and then Billy Butler.
When you look at Mike Jacobs' swing and you look at Jack Miner's running fastball, it don't seem like they go together.
Polanco throws him out, so Miner makes a good pitch on 3-1. And now Jose Guillen. The Royals have some great discounts and packages that start with just 20 people or more through Royals Group Sales. You can reserve the best seats or one of the great new areas like the Bud Light Party Deck on top of Rival Sports Bar or in the Party Suites in the Hall of Fame building. Group tickets are perfect for families, friends, and all type of events. 816-504-4040. As Guillen bloops it up the right field line and foul with 3 Tigers chasing. Jose, in his first plate appearance since coming back from the disabled list, walked on 4 pitches against Miner in the second inning.
When you haven't played for a while and you haven't been at the plate for a while, a lot of times they want to try to pitch you more inside and see if you got the bat quickness back for the fastball inside. He's got that good runner that he can get in there, but you know Jose Guillen is one of the better inside fastball hitters, so you got to be careful and make sure he gets it in there.
And that hit the outside corner with some late movement. If you had been on the disabled list for a week, Frank, and didn't have any live games before returning, would you rather have a guy that comes right at you with a fastball or someone who's going to junk you to death?
Well, I think if my eyes are not trained, what I would do, I would go down and watch the guys throw on the side before they went in the game and see breaking balls and fastballs and try to get on it right there. But I'd go with the guy that throws more off speed and try to give me a chance to catch up with my hands. If he's a well above 90-mile-an-hour fastball thrower, you may not quite be ready for that pitch because you haven't seen that BP stuff is only about 58 miles an hour.
That time didn't get the corner, and it's 3-2. There's some pretty high batting averages against the 58 miles an hour in batting practice.
Well, and Jose, really, normally you go out for rehab for 10 days and face some guys in AAA before you come back, but he's coming right back from the DL.
Got it in on the hands, and another ground ball to Polanco. It was about as sure-handed as they come. Polanco last year lost a streak of 186 consecutive games without an error. That's the major league record for a second baseman. He went the entire 2007 season without an error. And do I even need to mention that he won the Gold Glove for doing that?
They should have sent it in a limo.
A platinum glove.
That's phenomenal.
And the play that ended the streak, it wasn't a throw on a ground ball, it wasn't a booted ground ball, it was a bad throw on a relay.
Was it one that hit the runner as he was sliding into third base?
I don't remember that. I know it was at Fenway Park, and the reason I remember that is because when Mark Grudzielanek passed you for the most consecutive errorless games at second base, that also ended at Fenway Park, and it ended on a relay. Adam Everett throws out Billy Butler, and the Royals down in order in the fourth inning. Tigers as we go to the 5th inning, and don't forget, immediately after the game, it's Boulevard Royals Live with Joel Goldberg and Jamie Quirk from Rivals Sports Bar. Having a good time again tonight. That's a good place to be if it begins to rain, and there is a chance for some rain tonight, and the clouds coming in from the west getting a little bit darker, but all we've seen is just a harmless drizzle that lasted for about 2 minutes. Kyle Davies has retired Placido Polanco twice on fly balls. And he's ahead, no balls, 2 strikes. Here's the James B. Nutter pitch count on Kyle Davies through 4+ innings. Ball, 2 strikes.
You've heard the old term about being a pesky hitter. Well, Polanco would be a good definition of that because he shortens up. He doesn't try to do too much. Just wants to put the ball in play.
And that is not easy to do. Placido Polanco in 2000 and 2008 was not one of the toughest hitter in the American League to strike out.
Well, Cal throws that hard slider to the outside, and if I've noticed anything so far this season, the pitch of choice with 2 strikes, it hasn't been the slow breaking ball. It's been the hard breaking ball down and underneath the left-hander and away from the right-hander.
Tee-in with a long throw to get Maglia Ordonez, who continues to be hitless in the series. The Tigers have a 2-run home run from Gerald Laird in the 2nd inning, and another 2-run home run from Curtis Granderson in the 3rd. And the Royals had a tough time last year against Zach Miner. Have just a pair of singles in the first 4 innings and have stranded 4. One 1-0 to Miguel Cabrera. Grounded out and walked his first 2 plate appearances. Tigers last year signed him to an 8-year contract. They also signed Dontrell Willis to a 3-year deal for a lot of money, and Willis spent a lot of last year in the minor leagues and is now on the disabled list. That's a trademark play for Tony Pena Jr. He makes that play look as easy as anyone does in the league. Kyle Davies with his second 1-2-3 inning, this time getting help from the defense. Couple of 2-run home runs, but now starting to find a groove in the last 2 innings with 2 strikeouts and 2 ground balls, including an excellent play at shortstop by Tony Pena Jr.
Well, that was an excellent play, Ryan, and one of the good things about playing up the middle, you get to see the pitch location, and if you anticipate, then you can make those kind of plays on a regular basis.
Callaspo breaks his bat in half. Adam Everett throws him out. Callaspo singled his first time up, so 1 for 2. And now Minor appears to be finding a groove. He got into trouble in the 2nd and 3rd innings because of walks. And now he's retired the last 5, all with ground balls, and one of them was a inning-ending double play. John Buck broke his bat with a ground ball to 3rd in the 2nd inning.
Minor really sets up that running fastball. He goes away with a breaking ball, and then he runs it back in on your hands and try to catch it out over the plate a little bit more.
No, he's one of those guys where, now you pointed out that one pitch at 93 that was straight to Butler, but that's about it. Everything else has got some kind of hook or tail to it. Cabrera retires Buck. So that's 6 in a row retired by Zach Minor. Wednesday is the next Inc. College night, and the Royals are hosting a happy hour in the outfield experience. High school and college students with a valid school ID can get tickets for just $7, but everyone can enjoy the concession specials in the outfield. So take a break from the work week and spend a little time with friends. Inc. College nights at Kauffman Stadium. And now Minor makes a nice play himself. So Zach Minor has retired the last 7. And he's working with a 4-0 lead at the end of 5. It was a runaway for bobblehead nights the last time we checked, but now T-shirt Tuesdays at 30%, followed by bobblehead nights. And then the jersey giveaway tonight. Last year, of course, the Billy Butler powder blue. And both times the gates opened early because of the enormous crowd. But temperatures right around 80 this year. Last year it was a cold Saturday, and the fans shivering to get their powder blue. It would have been a good night to give away Royals parkas.
I still can see Billy out there with his stocking cap on and his big jacket, handing out his jersey.
Right to Callaspo. Hardly had to move. Carlos Guillen is 0 for 2. He does have a run scored. Well, the 6th inning is our Coors Light inning. Here's the Coors Light freeze cam in the first of two. And that's belted
two-run
into home runs for the Tigers tonight.
Well, the one thing that Kyle did there, normally you don't throw a changeup to the same side, and that changeup ran back into Jared Laird's bat, and he didn't miss it.
His first home run of the year. Coors Light freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Ryan, we were talking about that. Who do you throw changeups to? And one of the things about throwing a changeup from a righty to righty is that the danger of it moving back into the bat. Normally you say the changeup for the left-handed hitter because you want to move it down and away. So if you have a changeup that you can control and make it go down, then I think you can throw that to right on right.
Tried to tie him up. 2 balls, 1 strike. So whatever the off-speed pitch is, the goal is to keep it down and away from the hitter.
Down and away, yes. Unless you have a knuckleball.
Who knows where it's going to go. Laird is 4 out of 5 in this series. He had 2 hits and a run scored against Zach Greinke last night. As a member of the Rangers last year, he hit .381 against the Royals.
Yeah, he has a real nice approach. I mean, he tries to drive the ball the other way. He doesn't try to do too much. And he's one of those typical guys, take the fastball and drive it to right field. If you hang a breaking ball, that's the ball he pulls.
All of that for a baseball. Past Tian and into left field. Look at the whole time the guy in the white hat is holding the ball. Meanwhile, there's a dog pile 2 or 3 rows in front of him. How did the guy in the white hat end up with that?
I'm stronger than you. I've got it.
Brandon Inge has grounded out in single. We were talking about his setup when he batted last time and the amount of hand and wrist strength it takes for him to be able to have the bat point towards the pitcher like it does.
Well, just all the way. And it's also a way to making him stay back also. It's a good way to make yourself stay back. And really, you have trouble with the hard breaking ball to the outside, maybe even the fastball to the outside corner, but you also have a better shot at hanging in there on the changeup and maybe the slow breaking curveball.
And another base hit. Kyle Davies has given up 7 hits in 5 1/3 innings. And the Royals now will get busy in the bullpen. Brandon Inge is 2 for 3. Bob McClure out to chat with Kyle Davies and John Buck. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, technical director Richard the Rocket Harlan, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and stage manager Mike Carruthers.
Doc.
And thousands of others. Oh and 1 on Josh Anderson. 0 for 2. Did reach on a fielder's choice in the 4th inning and stole his 5th base, although he was asked to bunt earlier in that at bat. Now he comes up with 2 on, 1 out. And that ball bounced a good foot in front of home plate, and John Buck keeping the runners where they are.
Well, John did a great job. If you can keep that ball from hitting your glove in any way and get into your stomach, then it gets a little bit softer, and you can block it right back out in front, and that's really how you want to do that play. But like you said, that was so far out in front, he had to stay there a lot longer. That catches to tell you the hardest ball to block is a fastball that hits right in front of the plate or hits on the plate. Those are the two toughest balls to try to block.
Former Royals catcher Brent Maine has written a book called The Art of Catching, and he's going to join us when we're out in Anaheim later in May. But he sends, if you get his book, he sends you a tip of the week. And I read him because I don't know a whole lot about catching, but he said if a catcher can think about it, when you block the ball, you should exhale because it makes your body soft.
Right, that's what they tell him. That
into deep right center field and over Guillen. The Tigers have good speed on the bases. Anderson on his way to third with a 2-run triple, and it's a 6-0 Detroit lead. And Trey Hillman is going to go to the bullpen and bring on Robinson Tejeda. So tonight was not Kyle Davies' night, and he'll leave with 1 out in the 6th. Game of the series is tomorrow afternoon. It'll be Sidney Ponson against Armando Galarraga. Coverage beginning at 12:30. Tomorrow's game is in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. The extra base hits really hurting Kyle Davies and the Royals tonight. Robinson Tejeda takes over. A 2-run home run from Gerald Laird, a 2-run home run from Curtis Granderson, and now in the 6th inning, a 2-run triple from Josh Anderson. And the Royals, down by 6, are going to bring the infield in with Adam Everett at the plate, hoping for a ground ball and or a play at the plate.
Well, Robinson Tejeda has the ability to strike you out or pop you up, but he also has that good running fastball, the two-seamer that can create a ground ball, which is what he probably wants to do right now.
Going off speed to even the count. Everett singled, scored on Granderson's home run in the 3rd, and flied out in the 4th with Josh Anderson down at third base. Right by him at 94 on the stadium radar gun. Trey Hillman has been using Robinson Tejeda almost like a fireman. He's the guy that he's called on in the middle of an inning.
Well, when you got that strikeout potential, that's kind of what Trey Hillman likes.
There's your pop-up, but the infield was in, making it a difficult play, and Coco has to come way in from center field. So there were 4 Royals in the vicinity, and Coco Crisp taking charge for the out.
Well, you need that. You need someone to take charge on that because both your middle infielders are running with their back to the infield. If they make that catch, Anderson's going to score for sure.
I'm guessing as a second baseman on a play like that, you hear the center fielder saying, "I got it," and you go, "Thank you."
Especially on a windy night. But I'm really kind of surprised Anderson didn't go back and tag on that play. He was moving down the line. Normally you go back and tag, and if that ball happens to fall, now you can continue home. But if it goes off Coco's glove, now he's got to go back to third and then try to score from there. With no outs, you can do that. But with one out, you got to go back and tag on any fly ball.
Granderson 1 for 3, but his one hit was a 2-run home run in the third inning, his 6th of the year, snapping an 0 for 7. Three balls, no strikes. First and third, and Polanco coming up.
The second baseman, number 14, Polanco.
3 walks given up by the Royals tonight. That's not a big number, obviously. One of the walks have come around to score. The Royals with the second fewest walks as a pitching staff in the American League tonight, trailing only the Tigers.
You know, walking Granderson might not have been the best thing because now you got the hole open at first. Polanco can hit through the hole. Also, he can steal and put another run in score position.
Said he pops it to left field. De Jesus was not playing deep, and Polanco hits it off the wall. With 2 outs, Granderson going on contact. It's a 4-run 6th inning for Detroit and an 8-0 lead.
There's a pitch to hit a left up. Up has been really the pitch that's been getting hit hard today. And Polanco usually is a hitter who likes to go the other way. But you leave the breaking ball up, and he can pull it, and he drove it to left center field over David's head.
Here's Maglio Ordonez, who is 0 for his last 12. Ordonez does not have an extra base hit yet this year.
And that's really surprising because he does have right center field power. Usually it drives the ball to right center field very well.
A .341 career hitter against the Royals coming into this series, and that's no surprise to me at all, especially when he was at the White Sox. Man, he just wore out the Royals, not only on offense, but made some excellent plays on defense.
Well, he was one of the premier right fielders in the game when he was with the White Sox. He went through that series and had some knee problems, and it kind of slowed him down from a defensive standpoint. But his bat is still a dangerous bat to have in the lineup.
Deep right center, and the wind is going to help it. But Coco runs it down on the track. It's a 4-run 6th inning, and the Royals have a ways to go, down by 8.
This is the 6th inning, and this is our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is John Edelman from Kansas City, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, John will win $1,700. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, John will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
And this would be a good inning for that. The Royals down by 8. They have hit a grand slam this year. John Buck on the last homestand against the Cleveland Indians. And Coco up the middle for a hit. His first, second time on base. Zach Miner had retired 7 in a row. And Jim Leland immediately out of the dugout.
Well, with a 8-0 lead, he probably want to stay in there and try to work through whatever they think he needs to work through.
Well, Zach Miner, who is back there somewhere, did not want to come out of the game. And as long as that's channeled in a professional manner, maybe managers love that, right? I mean, you want guys that want to stay in there.
Well, that's true, and I think he was looking at the score and having an opportunity to get a little deeper in the game. He hadn't started in a while, so pitch count might have been an issue.
This could be a tough play. Polanco can't quite make the play. David DeJesus ends an 0 for 11. And the Royals have 2 on, nobody out.
You know, Bobby C., he's got that little kind of a funky sidearm delivery and gets in on David. Polanco goes as hard as he could and as far as he could. Granderson never called him off, and the ball went out the end of his glove.
Bobby C., a former first-round draft pick of the Chicago White Sox back in '96, and because of a loophole was declared a free agent, then got a big contract with Tampa Bay. Has made a nice little career for himself as a situational lefty. Martin singled in the first inning, tried to stretch it into a double, and Curtis Granderson threw him out. And then grounded out in the third. Slow roller, busted bat, and a bit of a traffic jam over at first. Oh, and the Royals don't believe it. I don't think Rusty Kuntz and Martin believe that Cabrera ever got his foot on the bag.
We'll take a look at it right here. Polanco makes a nice throw.
Tough to tell from there. Although, to me, it's always anytime they take a second move to the bag, that tells me that they didn't think they got it in the first place.
Well, you can also go by, he's up by almost a half a foot, and you can also go by his facial expression too. And his face is pretty much saying, "Oh, what have I done?" You know.
So a bad call, but as we pointed out before, it all depends on the angle that the umpire had, and the umpire, you can see him right there, he doesn't see this angle that we're seeing.
No, he doesn't see it, and Cabrera's really got his foot in a pretty good angle, covering the foul line and the corner of the base. But like you said, Ryan, the telltale there was that second step that he actually took 2 steps to find the base.
So the next time Cabrera touches the bag will be the first time. And that really cost the Royals. Instead of the bases loaded, nobody out, which is exactly what they needed. It's second and third, 1 out. And Mike Jacobs, who is grounded out twice. Jim Leyland also made this change, I'm sure, because the Royals, after Coco Crisp, who's a switch hitter, have a stack of left-hand batters, DeJesus, Tien, and Jacobs. And they've got a righty warming up in the bullpen with Guillen and Butler to follow. Over the mound, the Royals will get their first run. Jacobs with his 12th RBI. It's an 8-1 game. DeJesus moves up to third base. And as anticipated, out comes Jim Leyland. And we'll bring on the righty to face Jose Guillen. So Brandon Lyon, who was picked up during the offseason, takes over.
Tell you why he's smiling. You take a look at this play right here as he double reaches for first base. Take a look at his face right here. It's like, I just can't believe I missed that bag. And that's what brings on a big smile, because you missed it, didn't get caught.
Now Brandon Lyon. Well, there appeared to be some confusion over there because Bobby C., the pitcher, was coming. I mean, who was going to cover that ball? Cabrera started to go for that ground ball, then changed his mind and came back. It had the feeling something was going to go wrong, but the way Doug Eddings saw it, the first base umpire, Cabrera had his foot on the bag.
Well, once you leave that bag, once you break to your right and realize you can't make the play, it's awful difficult to get back, stop your momentum, and tag the base at the same time.
Guillen has walked and grounded out in his return to the lineup. One ball, 2 strikes. Now, Doug Eddings did not have a good angle, but watch the fan sitting in the crown seats who had a little bit of a better angle. This guy in the blue shirt with the hat flipped up in the front. That's my guy. He knew that Tien was safe. And he's calling everyone he knows to tell him that Tien was safe.
Or that I'm on TV.
He was past the bag. And that's the right call. By the time they finally got the foot on the bag, Tien was past the bag. He will not forget that play for the rest of his life. Or he might decide to go to umpiring school. Brandon Lyon gets a ground ball from Jose Guillen. The Royals get one in the 6th inning. Inning, and as the weather warms up, let's start talking about T-shirt Tuesdays. There's going to be 6 of them this year, and coming up on the 28th, that's this Tuesday, it's a nod to 1969. That's a year of a lot of big events, like the Royals' introduction to Kansas City. So don't miss this chance to update your closet for free, thanks to AT&T. Come out to Kauffman Stadium early. First 20,000 fans will get that T-shirt. As Ron Mayhay comes on in the 7th inning. A lot of things happened in 1969, but many of that stuff has been forgotten. What are you nodding at?
No comment.
What was it about 1969? It always seems like anytime you bring up 1969, you get a silly grin on someone's face.
I'm more familiar with 1968. That's when I graduated, so a lot of things happened that year too.
I was born 2 years later, so I'm blameless.
2 years later than
1969. Ron Mayhay with a good start to the 7th inning. Mayhay was one of the most dependable relievers the Royals had last year up until he got hurt in August, but does not have all his pistons firing in the first month of the season this year.
Well, he got off to a slow start in spring training because he was still trying to heal and get healthy. They had some arm problems and got those worked out, but you wonder if he got enough innings in spring training to really be sharp. And then the starters, the way they came out the start of the season, the bullpen didn't get a lot of work. And so now the innings are starting to come, and it'd be nice to see him go through this inning and not get hurt in this inning right here. So that'll be a positive sign for him.
One and one. Good pitch to Carlos Guillen. Walked and scored on Laird's 2-run home run in the second. Curtis Granderson has a 2-run home run. And the Tigers added 4 more in the sixth. Josh Anderson a 2-run triple and Placido Polanco 2-run double. So extra base hits have hurt the Royals, and those are 4 extra base hits I just named, and each one drove in 2 runs.
Well, when you put men on base ahead of them, those extra base hits are huge. But there's an old saying about home runs: over the wall is not out. So the inning keeps going. So you're better off to keep the ball in the ballpark by pitching down and give your defense a chance to make some plays.
Three balls, 2 strikes. You Call It, presented by Sprint, your favorite giveaway this year. And a dead heat between bobbleheads. By the way, coming up in August, we'll be giving away a Frank White bobblehead. And T-shirt Tuesdays, aren't they?
They haven't told me about it. No.
Well, I'm telling you.
They've already done that once.
2 strikeouts now for Ron Mahay.
You know, I always said I've never seen a bobblehead that's smart. Every bobblehead I know always says yes, 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 yes. You know, the hit never goes to the side. It always goes up and down all the time.
It's a tribute to the Royals Hall of Fame, which will be dedicated on July the 18th, and there'll be a replica of Kauffman Stadium that'll be given away, as well as the 3 retired numbers. Number 20, Mr. Frank White. Number 10, Dick Hauser, and number 5, George Brett.
No, the only thing I remember about that was that we had to go out and play for like 4 innings before the game that day on the 17th. They're going to bring in some former major leaguers, and we're going to play like a little 4-inning game before. And so that my focus has been on that because I'm trying to figure out how to get through it without, 1, embarrassing myself, and 2, getting hurt. I got to get in my fantasy camp mode.
An old timers game. Whatever happened to old timers game? I think only the Yankees still play theirs. But
you got to find some old timers. The Yankees do a good job. At some point, you can't play anymore. You just got to toe the line and tip your hat and sign autographs.
Yeah, but I mean, old timers can refer to 40, 50, 60-year-olds that played. But I remember it seemed like every team had an old timers game. The Yankees, that's a big deal. They sell out the stadium for that. 2-2 on Laird.
Yeah, that's called a Hall of Fame Classic. It's presented by Willie Wilson and Farmland Industries.
That's going to be a lot of fun when that Royals Hall of Fame opens up. There's going to be some great interactive exhibits. Kurt Nelson of the Royals front office has been doing a great job of accumulating a lot of artifacts for that. And Ron Mahay comes on to the 7th and strikes out the side. Mayhay with 3 strikeouts. Panera takes us around the American League. Red Sox, look at that game with the Yankees. 16-11. Red Sox have won 9 in a row. A's beating the Rays. Rangers leading the Orioles. 2 more home runs for Ian Kinsler. White Sox leading the Blue Jays. Blue Jays lead the American League with 13 wins. Twins in front of the Indians. Jason Kubel having a big year. He's already hit for the cycle and now 5 home runs. The Royals with 9 more outs on offense have Billy Butler, Alberto Callaspo, and John Buck to face Brandon Lyon. We got the final out of the 6th inning. And Billy right to Placido Polanco, who's had a busy night. Cabrera has his foot on the bag and 1 down. And as Alberto Callaspo settles in, we'll take a look at the Firestone in-game box score and get you up to date with what the Royals have done at the plate tonight. Held scoreless for the first 5 and then got a run across in the 6th inning. Mike Jacobs ground out, scored Coco Chris, but a controversial call in the inning. Looked like the Royals were going to have the bases loaded with nobody out as Miguel Cabrera didn't get his foot on the bag, but first base umpire Doug Eddings, who had a difficult angle, ruled that he did. So that made it 2nd and 3rd one out. The Royals scored just the 1 run. And Alberto Callaspo's pop-up makes him 1 for 3. You know, let me ask you as a manager, because Rusty Kuntz was visibly upset. Trey Hillman didn't argue for very long. But when you go out to argue as a manager, do you consider that maybe the umpire didn't have a good angle and he did the best he could with what he had?
Well, a lot of it is what the umpire says to you. If you know that he missed a bag and your coach is upset that he missed a bag, and if you go out there and you say, oh, you know, what's going on, and if he says, look, I didn't get a good look, I could have missed it, then it's really not a lot you can say as a manager. But if he's emphatic that he was on the bag, then the manager can take it to another level. And if he thinks getting kicked out of the game is going to spur his team on, then that would be a good time to do it.
Take it to another level. That's a nice way of putting it.
It can escalate.
In volume and intensity.
Well, a lot of times if you think your team is playing well and you think that they're playing hard in the game and you have a situation like that, you got to pick your spots when you get to that point. If you think it might be one of those things to try to get your club, you know, excited, and sometimes you just try to get your team to say, hey, look, you know, I'm in the game, you know, I'm being intense, so why don't you guys be intense with me? And hopefully that it translates to those guys and they start playing a lot more aggressively and concentrating a lot better on the field.
John Buck takes a 2-out walk. Brandon Lyon signed during the offseason to compete to be the Tiger closer. They had Todd Jones for a number of years. Jim Leyland got Joel Zamaya, one of the hardest throwers in all of baseball, back from the disabled list today. But the Tigers decided to go with Fernando Rodney as closer to begin the year. Tony Pena Jr. is 0 for 2 with that ground out. 8-1 Tigers at the end of 7. Bread. Discover a whole new breakfast with grilled breakfast sandwiches, a new yogurt parfait, and fresh coffee at Panera. 8-1 Tigers as we advance to the 8th inning. A sellout crowd. Disappointed up to this point. Juan Cruz is the Royals' 4th pitcher after Ron Mayhay pitched the 7th. And it looked like he took a big step forward by striking out Cabrera, Guillen, and Laird.
Now, he does have some strikeouts in his appearances. They just did one pitch. That one pitch to Grady Sizemore, that's what everybody remembers. But I think Ron's going to be okay. I mean, he's a veteran guy, and I think once he catches up with his innings and his appearances, I think he's going to do a lot of innings just like this inning you saw today.
Actually, a bigger crowd tonight than last night. 37,647. So that's the 3rd sellout of the year, going back to opening day and last night. Hoping for a big Royals comeback in the 8th and 9th innings. 1-1 on Brandon Inge, 2 singles and a run scored. A pair of 2-run home runs for the Tigers tonight from Gerald Laird and Curtis Granderson. And then a 2-run triple from Josh Anderson, a 2-run double from Placido Polanco. 7 of the runs charged to Kyle Davies, 1 run charged to Robinson Tejeda. Good hard slider. Three and 2. Last year, Brandon Inge looked like he was a man without a position when the Tigers traded for Miguel Cabrera, who was playing 3rd base at the time. Inge asked to be traded just because he wanted to go play somewhere every day, feeling like he still was an everyday player. Jim Leyland wanted the Tigers to hang on to him, and as fate would have it, because of some injuries and because of Miguel Cabrera eventually ending at first base, Brandon Inge got his playing time and now opens this year as the everyday 3rd baseman. Gets a close shave from Juan Cruz and takes a leadoff walk.
Well, everyone knew that Brandon Inge was a real good athlete. He was a catcher. They moved him to center field, and then eventually to 3rd. So Jim Leyland probably knew that there was a lot in there that hadn't come out yet. And I think what we're seeing right now is what Jim Leyland saw in Brandon Inge when he said, hold on to him, don't let him go.
Andy Van Slyke, the Tiger first base coach. Royals going to have to hurry. Anderson can really run. And a nice double play. Pena, Callaspo, Butler.
That play right there, Ron, is like a point guard in basketball. You make a great play to your left. You have good court awareness. You backflip to Callaspo chest high, and he makes a nice turn to get the fast runner, Anderson. TJ's got one of those rubber bodies, you know. He can stretch it any kind of way he wants to stretch it. He can throw from any angle, and he always has good power when he throws.
Just over Martin and down into the left field corner. Adam Everett with a 2-out double. He has 2 hits tonight. Well, TJ might get some playing time with Mike Aviles at the moment off to a slow start. Royals figure that's going to right itself eventually, but every now and then a player just needs a game or 2 off to pull things together, and you know you're going to get the glove with Pena out there.
Well, with Jose Guillen coming back to that lineup and adding a little more offense, you can probably go at Tony Pena for a few days until Mike finds a stroke, and at the same time you get an opportunity to get a shortstop out there with a little more range, and you know Tony makes great plays, and the game changes kind of when he's out there. But I think it's a great opportunity for Trey to use both guys.
The Royals designated Brian Pena for assignment to make room for Jose Guillen. Royals do not have the option Brian Pena. They did last year, got him through waivers and outrighted him to AAA Omaha, where he spent a big chunk of the season. But I believe Brian Pena now, even if he clears waivers, has the option of signing with whomever he wants to.
Any club he wants, right. The one thing we're probably going to miss with Brian Pena is his energy. You know, when he came in a game, the game just kind of changes.
Pena stays back to get the hop. Granderson out at first base. To the bottom of the 8th, Royals down by 7. Now to the bottom half. Happy birthday to Karen. Is that also Kevin Ryan? Top of the order for the Royals in the 8th inning, Coco Crisp, who's been on base twice and has scored the Royals run. That was in the 6th on a ground out from Mike Jacobs. Brandon Lyons still in there. He got the final out in the 6th. A scoreless 7th, and now we'll face Crisp, DeJesus, and Tien. Brandon Lyon, a guy with a good arm who's just had some elbow troubles over the years. 03, 04, and 05. Had problems with the elbow. Surgery in 04. He was involved in an odd series of transactions back in 03. He was with the Red Sox, traded to the Pirates, and then 9 days later traded back to the Red Sox. Placido Polanco has had a weeks full of ground balls tonight and retires Coco Crisp. And now Jim Leyland doing here in the 8th what he did here in the 6th, allows the right-hander to get the first out, and with all the lefties coming up, we'll pull a lefty out of the pen. Brandon Lyon, Bobby C., 2/3 scoreless. Zach Miner started, gave up 1 run in 5 innings, and for the second straight night, here's Wichita's Nate Robertson pitching out of the bullpen this year, and he comes on with 3 lefties coming up. Jim Leland did the same thing in the 6th. He allowed Zach Miner to face a right-hand batter, or a switch hitter, and Coco Crisp, who singled, and then brought in Bobby C. to face all the lefties. Well, Frank, when you go from starter to reliever, and Nate Robertson, a starting pitcher for a long time, biggest question is, can you pitch in back-to-back games?
Well, that's always a question, and I'm sure that he's done it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it. Otherwise, you have to pick special spots for a pitcher, but you can't really carry anyone on that pitching staff, so you're going to need somebody to be able to go back-to-back, plus pitch more than 1 or 2 innings. And him being a starter, he might be that guy that can come out and throw 2 innings for their club and possibly 3 if he's stretched out far enough.
Robertson gave up a run in an inning and a third last night. Oh, and 1 to Mark Teahan.
One of the telltale signs is you look at velocities. If the velocity remains the same 2 days in a row, or they vary from day to day, then you can tell whether or not you're getting the same effectiveness when you bring them out on back-to-back days.
And the only way to find out is just to run him out there.
Yes, run him out there, and you really got a good feel for it, maybe coming out of spring training, and that's really the good barometer there. You can do it there, and he's going to be okay during the season.
Just missed a Teahan. Mark 1 out of 3.
And one of the other things, Ryan, when you go from being a starter, you used to throwing so many pitches before a game. So when you become a reliever, you have to get ready in less pitches. Otherwise, you burn yourself out in the bullpen if you got to go back-to-back days.
Nate Robertson, drafted out of Wichita State by the Marlins, and then was traded to the Tigers for Mark Redmond, former Royal. Still 3-2 on Teahan. Mark has hit in 6 straight. Batting at .339. Back in the number 3 spot and should be there for a long time with Jose Guillen back in the lineup. And takes a walk. Runner at first with 2 down. Remember, you can get your official Royals gear at Royals.com. You'll shop the largest online selection of Royals caps, T-shirts, jerseys, and more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Royals.com Pro Shop. Mike Jacobs has driven in the only run for the Royals tonight with a ground out in the 6th inning. May have broken his bat. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Royals have had much more success this year against righties than lefties. That was before tonight. But the Royals have also faced left-hand starters more than anyone in the American League except for the A's. The Oakland A's, I think, have faced 10 lefties already this year. The Royals have faced 8. And with a lineup that has a lot of left-hand batters, and eventually going to have to find a way to break through against those guys. Cabrera gets a nice big hop, comes to the bag, and that's the inning. We've played 8. Tigers lead 8-1. and Jamie Quirk, highlights and analysis. And the Tigers turning on the power tonight with 8 runs, all runs scoring on extra base hits. They'll take a look at the clutch play of the week and preview tomorrow's series finale with Sidney Ponson and Armando Galarraga pitching. Coverage beginning tomorrow at 12:30. Mitch Meyer is now in the game in center field. And Willie Bloomquist is in right. And speaking of right, Jamie Wright is on the mound. A little bit of a delay for the moment as a rocket scientist decided to run on the field in between innings. He's a big rocket scientist. But no matter how smart you are or think you are normally going to lose that battle to the security team.
That's one of them bets you make in the stands right there. But once you get over the wall, then you got to figure out how to get over another wall. It just doesn't work too well.
It always seems like a good idea right up until you end up in the back seat of a police car. And then reality starts to set in. Polanco grounds to Tien. So Jamie Wright using his sinker to get one pitch with one out. Polanco 1 for 5, but he has one of the 2-run extra base hits tonight. I'm supposed to ask you about a guy at Yankee Stadium that ran on the field.
Oh, long story. Oh, back in that was back in the day of what they used to call streaking back in those days, and this is in the old stadium when you had the monuments, and so a lot of the policemen around Yankee Stadium were a little heavy, and so the guy went out there and got between the monuments, and he kept putting these moves on between the monuments, and the policeman kept falling down. And then they had to send out a wave of younger ones to corral the streaker that went
reinforcements.
On the field. But back in those days, they used to actually streak with nothing on. So needless to say, they drug him up the runway and had their fun.
Yeah, those security guys at Yankee Stadium are old NYPDs, aren't they? And it didn't look so bad when you were on the field, but when you went up those tunnels.
It's nice to be cheered for running on the field. It's one of those things your parents, when I was coming up, they said, this hurts me worse than it does you.
But I don't think that's what the cops are saying to the guys running on the field. This is going to hurt you way more than it hurts me.
The only thing I heard coming through the tunnel was, don't you ever embarrass me like that again. with some volume.
And those tunnels could echo at old Yankee Stadium. 3-2 on Maglio Ordonez, who was 0 for 4 tonight, 0 for 8 in the series.
I think one of the worst ones I saw was here when we had the turf, and Amos used to go and leave his glove in center field when we did pitching changes. So the guy jumped out, ran out to center field, but it's one of those Sunday afternoons when the turf was 140 degrees. He had no shoes on, and police walked him really slow to the dugout. And when he got to the dugout, because of the heat.
Maglio Ordonez has just hit his first extra base hit of the year, and splash up into the fountains. Tigers have scored every single one of their 9 runs tonight on an extra base hit. 3 home runs, a double, and a triple.
Well, Jamie Wright's strength is his sinker, but he threw a fastball that ran in on Maglio Ordonez. I say the one thing about the two-seamer, it's better off if you can make it go down when you're throwing to a righty on righty. When you throw it in, you got to make sure you get it in because it's coming back into the swing. And it stayed down, and Maglia was able to get the head of the bat on it and drive it into the water.
431 feet on the Maglia Ordonez home run. Speaking of running on the field, it was 33 years ago today that then Chicago Cubs outfielder Rick Monday rescued an American flag at Dodger Stadium. A couple of guys who had way too much fun in 1969 thought it would be a good idea to run on the field, set the flag on fire, but Rick Monday came in and saved the flag. The next year he was a member of the Dodgers, still has the flag, by the way. It was presented to him the following year by the Dodgers, and I read a story where he's been offered as much as $1 million for that flag because it's such a piece of history, and he has declined, saying that that flag is, there's no price tag that you can put on that flag.
Well, we actually talked to him in spring training when we played the Dodgers, and I asked him about that, and he said that as great as that moment was, you know, he thought it was a great player too, but he's more remembered for that than he is as a player. Kind of like Emmitt Smith in Dancing with the Stars. You have a great career, then you do something that's even greater in the eyes of the public, and they really give you a lot of attention. But really, when you see the video on that, it's really pretty spectacular the way he did it.
There we go. Cabrera said he's fine after that swing.
Let's that sinker down, and really once you let go with that top hand and you get way high like that and you go around so far, it kind of stretches your shoulder a little bit.
Rick Monday, by the way, now is a broadcaster for the Dodgers, longtime broadcaster for the Dodgers. Diving play, TJ from his knees from the outfield grass, and Butler tags out Cabrera. So good plays on both sides of the diamond.
And TJ does a great job diving to his right, stays on his knees, shifts his weight, and Billy's done a great job coming off the bag and make the tag on Cabrera going down the line.
So the Royals still playing hard on defense, down by 8 in the 9th inning.
You know, that's another area that Billy's improved on a lot too, is being able to adjust to the throws. He's made that play 2 or 3 times already this year where if he gets over there and he's standing flat-footed and the ball runs down the line, then it's more a difficult play. But he's been able to move with a somewhat of agility to catch the ball and follow the runner by and make the tag. So that's another good sign of the progress he's made at first base.
So sometimes it's a good idea to try and stretch for it, but other times you have to read when it's time to leave the bag.
Right, I can see that ball when it came out of Tony's hand with that arm angle, and once it starts moving down the line, you're probably going to have to go off the bag and get it. But the good thing, he stayed inside, and then he caught the ball inside. A lot of times first baseman will get their arm caught in there with the runner.
Easier play for Butler, getting the throw from Iaspo. Inning over, but the Tigers hit another home run. Butler and Alberto Callaspo. Or check that, Mitch Meyer, Billy Butler and Alberto Callaspo. Our final look at You Call It, presented by Sprint. And here are the final tallies. T-shirt Tuesdays, 33%. That's the favorite giveaway that fans are looking forward to this year. They'll get 6 opportunities at a T-shirt Tuesday beginning this upcoming Tuesday. So thank you for participating. And our friends at Sprint will have another question for you tomorrow. Here's hard-throwing Joel Zamaya back from the disabled list tonight.
Well, before his shoulder surgery, Ryan, he was serious heat out of the bullpen. Control has always been the main factor with him.